Welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be servicing my 250,000 mile Volkswagen Bora. In my book, as every time I get a car I service it myself, just oil and filter, because it's just a peace of mind. It's all fine and dandy looking at a car's history or the previous owner telling you, oh, I've serviced it, and to me it doesn't look like it's had an oil change in a good while. But not only that, is the sump's leaking really badly, and that's why I don't even really use the car, because even if the car's sitting, there's oil coming out of the sides of the sump. So in today's video I'm also going to be removing the sump, cleaning it, resealing it, and fingers crossed the car is serviced and the sump is no longer leaking. Before we start working on the car, there is a few things that I would just like to update on, and that is that since the last video, which was fitting the EGR delete, is that video done really well, and I'm so buzzing about that. And because of that, there's been a good increase in people subscribing. If you're one of those people, honestly, thank you so much, because you're now part of my journey, and I'm so close to being able to open a merch store. And that is usually about 500 subscribers, and with the correct watch hours, of course. And I'm almost halfway there, nearly 250 subscribers, which is amazing. So if you're one of those people, honestly, thank you so much. And speaking of merch, it was actually my 31st birthday yesterday, and my wife got me this t-shirt made, and it's absolutely convenient that in the time that she ordered this and made it, that I've changed the name of the channel, and that's something that I briefly just want to talk about. So this would be a perfect example of merch that you would see on the channel, with different designs and different colours and stuff. It actually has JGR cars on the back here, and although you might think like, oh well, she's got you that and you've changed the name, but the thing is this will always be me, because my initials are James John Robertson, JGR, and cars is clearly my hobby and always will be. So this is basically still my thing, my t-shirt. But the thing is that for the YouTube channel itself and the socials, is there's a slightly different idea behind that, which I'll explain just now. I have done a social post about this, explaining that I've went from JGR Cars to TDI Society. Sometimes it's good to just have a step back at what you're doing and just think about the whole thing at once. And for me, it was about myself in this YouTube channel, and that's the key word, myself, is because everybody I watch on YouTube and have done for years, it's always about a single person and what that person is doing, and then everyone supports them and all that sort of stuff. Where my idea for this YouTube channel is that I want to build a club, I want to build a community where everybody's involved and everybody can have comments, opinions, feelings, share what they're doing, talk about what they're doing, because end of the day, us that are interested in cars, automotive industry, like the whole thing, is that it's nice to feel included and to be part of something. Perfect example of that is on TikTok. I uploaded a photo of the Bora and just explained a few updates that had been happening, because I think that week or maybe two I struggled to get a video out on the channel, and without saying anything I had maybe 4 or 5 people just comment a picture of their Bora. And that's when I thought to myself, I was like, that's exactly what I want out of this, is for people to feel like they can come to this channel, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and just talk about their car, what they're doing, what they're up to, as well as if you're watching this video, if you're watching any of my other videos, like, don't hesitate to comment below and be like, James, you've done that completely wrong, like, you should have done this, or next time you're doing that, do it this way. Like, we should all be part of the same thing, if that makes sense. So I was kind of building this channel with that in mind, but not realising that, you know, building this myself, like JGR, it's me, and it would be my own channel, my own Instagram. But the thought behind it is like everything that I'm interested in. So yeah, I've got an Integra Type R behind me, that's my dream car and my project. It's still going to be part of me, it's still part of the channel. But TDIs and diesels has been a big passion of mine for a number of years, and that's what I've noticed is the main focus on this channel, is turbo diesels or diesels. And hopefully in the future there'll be a lot more content, a lot more cars, etc. And it's basically a good all-rounder of everything, but the main focus for me and my main interest is turbo diesels. and society is another word for group, club, etc. So that's why I've changed the name and the layout to TDI Society, and I hope all this makes sense, is that basically I'm going from a single person YouTube channel and socials to creating a group and a club where everyone can just comment, opinionate, help, advise, whatever it is. It's something that I want to build and something I've got in mind, and that's the reason for it. On that subject, if you have your own thoughts and feelings and opinions about the name change and the ideas, just comment below. If you like it, don't like it, this is what it's all about. So if you've made it this far into this talking section of the video, thank you so much, and let's get into servicing the Bora. I've got the Bora up in the air. I'm just going to drain the oil just now, and then we'll see what parts we're working with. But we can actually now see the oil leak, and it is pretty bad. It's all coming off this one side, it's actually everywhere. It's pretty disgusting. So you can see all the times I've worked on the car, the little drips that it has. It's even dripping just now, as you can see. So I'm really looking forward to getting that off and sealed and back on with some actual decent oil. So the sump bolt is 19mm, and I've got the oil cap off as well because that helps drain the oil, if you didn't know. I'm usually quite good at this, not getting oil everywhere, so we'll see how we get on. Hopefully I've not spoke too soon. There we go. That is very dark, but I know diesels have dirty oil, but just looking at that, it's like, was this actually serviced before I got it? I'm not too sure, but here we are. Obviously not the correct tools for an oil filter housing, but I've nothing else, and it's only 25 Newton meters. I think this oil filter has seen better days. I think we get the OEM genuine one fitted. So that's the new OEM filter on, as well as a new O-ring. I always like to just put a smear of oil around a new O-seal. That way, when you're trying to tighten it, it doesn't grab, snatch and possibly break it. And this is a brand new one, which I don't want to do. Just using these to get the O-ring past the surface. And that's it tight. Because I need to seal the sump, I've got this grey high torque silicon gasket maker, and I've also got the magnetic sump plug here from Darkside Developments. Here's the sump bolt that came off that I've just removed, and this is for the vacuum line simplification video that I'm going to be doing very shortly. I was actually waiting on this, and what this does is basically just an air filter, and it goes where the old original airbox used to be. So this is the vacuum line here for it, and that goes to the N75 valve here, which this actually does take in air. So this will be completely cut back all the way to the valve here, and then stick this filter on. If you're not sure what a vacuum line simplification is basically a car this age, you're going to get a lot of vacuum leaks, and you do an N75 valve and you can take off so much of this vacuum line. For example, I've got this ball here and the vacuum line is completely squashed, so this is really doing nothing. It's to tidy it all up, it's to make sure you're not getting any leaks or issues, and as well as I've heard a few other benefits. I'm not sure if they're actually correct, but apparently because there's less vacuum getting provided to everything else, it helps the turbo spool. Don't hold me to that because I've no proof, but it kind of makes sense how the N75 valve controls the boost pressure. Whilst the oil is draining, we'll just have a look at what we're going to be using. So I've got this Quantum Platinum Plus 540, which is from Estune, and they say in the description and on forums and the internet, is that this is the best oil you can use for a high mileage older PD engine. So I'm going to be using that. I've also got a genuine Volkswagen Group oil filter, and for later on at some point I've got a genuine Volkswagen oil filter. I was going to get some braided fuel hoses which go from the filter itself onto the rail from S-Tune, but I was devastated when they went out of stock in the basket when I went to order stuff, because these are quite old and brittle. You see all the cracks and stuff there. So I'll have a new filter as well as braided hoses to the engine, which will be a nice upgrade once they come back in stock. And then obviously got some Dark Side Developments stickers, as well as a dome sticker for underneath the TDI badge on the boot, and some S-Tune stickers as well. Now that the oil's just basically finishing draining off, I'm just going to take all the sump bolts out. Just partly taking all the 10mm bolts out of the sump. There's also these two, one long, one short, and these come from the gearbox side. So as you can see here, that there is actually threads here and threads in here, and they come from this side of the gearbox into the sump, and they hold it as well. So I think it's just the remaining back side of the 10mm. I've got all these out, and just looking up there, you can actually see like how minging this has actually got everything. So hopefully I'll be able to get a good clean under here as well, because I want to see no more drips coming out of this car. I think that's all the bolts out, apart from this one here, which goes through this dog bone mount, I think they call it, gearbox, lower gearbox mount. There's one here which is cast into here, so I think that's the last one to remove. I'm just going to take the sump sensor plug off here. And something I did notice is this pipe is just rattling about here just below the turbo, and I think that should be attached into there. So that's another job for me to do whilst I'm down here, because I mean, look at this, this is just a total abomination. I managed to get that bolt out that I was just talking about. It was just a 16mm socket, and I didn't even have to remove this mount here. It actually just went straight on through, cracked it, and then I took it off with my fingers. So on that side of the sump, on the gearbox, there's these 3 bolts, and then around the sump there's then 10mm, and then these are 16mm. As I mentioned, on this side you've got a long bolt here which goes into the sump, you've got a shorter bolt here which goes into the sump, and then the one I just mentioned which is for here, but to get to it is underneath this mount. So as I'm just going through this, it turns out that there is another bolt in here, as well as the opposite side in here. But if you look at some angle, there's another one here and another one here. And the only way to access these is to turn the engine by hand, which is a 19mm socket, and get the gap in the flywheel to then take these bolts out. So this is my next challenge, and hopefully then when these two are out, that's it. The sump can get dropped. Like I said in my previous video, there's always one bolt or one nut that gives me issues, and this one was actually rounded, so I had to hammer a 3/8 socket onto it, and it's actually loose now, so hopefully it's just sort of tangled in the sealant around the sump, and we should be good to go. What a nightmare. Finally got the sump off, just going to drain the rest of the oil, clean all this surface up. I mean, you can see that that sealant that was on there previous has done absolutely nothing. Surprised the leak wasn't worse than what it was. I'm not seeing anything surprising, which is good. So just get all this cleaned up and ready for some new sealant. Got all the sump cleaned up as best as I could, and what I'm going to be doing is actually making sure when I seal it, it's on the outside, because I've seen horror stories in the past where if it's done on this side, the sealant then dries, goes into the oil, and then the oil pickup soaks it in and then can cause engine damage. So what I'm going to do is I'll put sealant round in the middle and on the outside, so when it goes in, it shouldn't be spilling into here. I've also done the same on the underside, just went all around cleaning it all, and it actually shows you where the two flywheel bolts are here and here that you need to turn to get this access point, as you can see here, to get these two out. Total nightmare like, but we're nearly there. I'm just going to stick some sealant on the sump and stick it back in place. Stick a few bolts in just to hold it in place whilst I can line everything up. Now all the bolts are in and all nice and tight, the sensor plug back on, and I'm just going to insert the Dark Side Developments magnetic sump plug. Comes with a new washer as well, so I'll just put that in, tighten it, and then time for some oil, and hopefully this is now sealed. So it's nearly halfway. Right, we're eventually there. Look at the absolute state of me, I'm absolutely covered. But I'm really satisfied with the progress. So we drained the oil, sump off, cleaned it up, resealed it, put it back on. New magnetic sump plug from Dark Side Developments. We have then changed the oil filter for a genuine OEM Volkswagen filter, and then topped up with the Quantum Platinum Plus oil 540. Now I'm going to start the car, let it run, let it warm up, and just check for leaks. So yeah, now it's a bit low, so I'll just put the rest of this oil in. And we can see it's just under the max. Happy with that. see there, I've let the car warm up, I've went around the whole thing, and there is next to no leaks, just a little bit of overspill that I've done when I first started pouring that oil, so my fingers are crossed that that is the sump sealed. If this was by now, before I'd done this, the oil would be literally running out of the sump, so either way, I've made a difference, I've stopped a major leak. The car's now being serviced with genuine OEM parts, and as well as a magnetic sump plug. Just want to shout out Dark Side Developments and S-Tune because I ordered both of their stuff at the exact same time and they came at both next day delivery, so it was really fast. And for this car, I'll only want to use the best, and I would strongly suggest checking out both their websites, which will be in the link in the description. That's it from me today. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, give a comment below, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button. If you don't know YouTube, it's actually free to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.